Could China mediate peace between Israel and the Palestinians and effectively replace the United States as the main diplomatic power broker? Well, China's foreign minister has reportedly just told his Israeli and Palestinian counterparts that his nation is ready to help facilitate peace talks. The separate phone calls come amid recent moves by Beijing to position itself as a regional mediator, mere months after brokering the restoration of ties in March between Iran and Saudi Arabia. So what is China's interest in doing this, and what financial benefits could Beijing reap? Well, joining us now is our economic analyst and I-24 News host, Ariel Margalit. So Ariel, to begin, give us some background now on the relationship between Israel and China, especially from a business perspective.
From a business perspective, we have to look at Israel, first of all, as China's biggest trading partner in Asia. As far as Israel is concerned, the trade volume with China stands at around $13 billion for the year 2021. We still don't have the exact data for 2022. If you're asking how that compares to the trade volume with the United States, the second world superpower, around a third. So trade with the U.S. is around $30 billion per year. Most of the investment for China in Israel is done in high-tech industries that are very interesting for Chinese companies to invest in. There's been a slight pause in that in recent years because of difficulties of Chinese investors to take money outside of China due to regulation in China. Yeah. But we've seen the peak years between 2013 and 2017. We had two visits then by Prime Minister Netanyahu to Beijing in which deals were signed. In 2017, it was a deal around infrastructure mostly. And since then, we're also seeing Chinese activity in Israel constructing ports, railways, the light rail here in Tel Aviv that you were talking about in your last show, etc. This is the focus of these relationships, agreeing to disagree on issues of Israel-Palestine conflict and general issues that China is involved in the Middle East.
All right, so before we get to kind of the U.S. reaction to this, what is China's interest in now becoming a mediator between Israel and the Palestinians?
So first of all, we have to note, Natasha, this is an outstanding announcement that's coming out of Beijing. It's coming from Xinhua News Agency, which is the state news agency for China, but basically it's coming from, of course, the Chinese authorities themselves. We have seen some attempts by China to mediate between Israel and the Palestinians in the last years. China has been constantly voting for the Palestinians and against Israel in UN resolutions. It has been supporting all sorts of filings to The Hague with regards to Israel, etc. But Israel and China have both agreed, again, to disagree on that and agree mostly on business, which was the main focal point of the relationship. What we're seeing in recent years are some attempts by Beijing to host all sorts of informal negotiations between Israelis and Palestinians, so bringing academics together from both sides, bringing NGOs together from both sides, different sectors that are not government for negotiations. What we're seeing now, this announcement, is pivotal because of what happened last month. And as you mentioned, China was the one that helped put together the agreement between Iran and Saudi Arabia, making a huge turn in the geopolitics of the Middle East. And one last thing that we need to note, Natasha, just a year or two ago, Beijing signed an agreement with Tehran for oil supplies for 25 years on a fixed rate. So China is very much reliant on Iranian oil and also on Saudi oil.
Right. So, we know that the United States has pressured Israel in the past to move away from business relations with China. The question is, has that worked, and how wary is Israel of getting buddy-buddy with China amid its burgeoning relations, you could say, with Iran and, of course, the overall U.S.-Chinese relationship?
The short answer is yes. It has impacted. The American pressure on Jerusalem has impacted relations between Jerusalem and Beijing, definitely. We've seen delegates of the American administration here, both under the Trump administration and under the Biden administration, coming to Jerusalem and telling Israel this is a red line. And we've seen this red line with regards to all sorts of infrastructure projects. We've seen this red line being drawn with regards to all sorts of technological purchases that China was trying to make here in Israel.
Right.
So yes, there is pressure from the United States. Israel often says yes, yes to the Americans, but does something else behind the scenes and goes ahead with all sorts of deals, trying to push its own agenda with China, maintaining a good relationship with the second largest economy in the world. Some would say the first largest economy in the world.
All right. Well, obviously, it's going to be interesting to see how this latest offer is going to play out from
Very
China.
interesting.